guys, I see that somebody has joined already for the painting lunch today. Just one question, whether you see and hear me well and whether the orientation is correct. Could you please comment? Yeah, Tanya is watching. Tanya, do you see the screen in the correct orientation so that you can read Fabriano without without any issues? We hear you well. And what about the orientation, Vika? That's the thing. I was struggling the whole week how to make it. Yes, the orientation is good. Perfect. I'm happy that I managed. So let's start. I hope you also have your coffee. I'm still in the process of waiting for my coffee, but let's work. We are having this reference for today, and for today we again working with watercolors. But I would say that next week we are going to paint with pastels, so that different participants of the club have the possibility to paint, because not all of you paint with watercolors, but there are those who prefer pastels. Therefore, next week, thank you, Alona, we are painting with pastels. So for those who are interested, please join next time for pastels. We are having this reference that you have chosen because it's more challenging. I agree with you. Therefore, I made a small sketch in the sketchbook so that you can see how it works, and we will start. Yeah, that's a very quick sketch, but that the goal of painting lunch breaks. That's not about painting some masterpieces for your future exhibitions or for my future exhibitions. It's only about practice and only about learning some new things and some tips and tricks. So we'll start with the pencil drawing as usual. Here my paper, and you know why it is but it's curvy, because it's from the roll. And I'm starting with the horizon line, because usually when you start painting a landscape, the first line that you do is the horizon line. Here I see the horizon line. After the horizon line, I will draw a house, and also I will need some sketching lines for the shadows. All the shadows go to the diagonal, to the left one. So these are shadows from our plants, from the bushes, and you may help yourself to mark them so that you are not lost after that when you are working with watercolor. So I'm starting. Is anybody painting with me? The horizon line. And then the house. The house is a bit lower than the horizon line. And we see two parts of it. It shouldn't be too big. It should be really rather small. these lines go a bit up, but just a bit. Lucia is painting very good, Lucia. Happy. Perhaps a bit further, so that the shape of the house is the same. Here I see the tree is just the shape. I don't care about it. Then I see a big shadow here. And here there is also the shadow. And it goes there. So that's the big shadow. And several more lines for the shadow there. And here I will also make some lines of the plants, like that. And the shadows from them will go also to the left upper corner. And some more bushes. And here is the white bush. That's the shape. So that's everything about the pencil drawing. I will wait for 1 minute while you are ready with it, because my coffee is ready. Oh, it's here. After that, we are preparing the colors, and I will remind you what colors we are using. The main color is ultramarine blue. You might have it because it's one of 3 main colors, so it is always available in any palette, even very simple one like for 10 colors or 7 colors. So that's ultramarine blue. If you have cobalt blue, you can also use it. I prefer cobalt blue more, but the difference is really not that tangible. You see, they're almost the same, and I like cobalt more just because of the hue, but in fact there is no difference. So you may use ultramarine blue. I will also use today ultramarine blue. Then I'm going to use purple matte, as I say, and I will need this color for the tree and for the house. For the tree I will use the same mixture but very light. I will add a lot of water, but for the house I will add more pigment and less water. For this color you use purple plus burnt sienna plus ultramarine. So if you mix these 3 colors, you will get the following. You get something like that. That's muddy purple. If you want it lighter, you just add more water and you will get a very light color, like that. So this one is for the tree and this one for the house. The house you will also need two values, because we have the light from the right. Look, the right side of the house is lighter, therefore more water to this mixture for the right part of the house, and for the left one we will use a very thick color. One more color that we are going to use today that's very unexpected. I think that's yellow, but yellow should be really very light. You may use lemon yellow or just normal yellow, but it should be so light that the hue is hardly visible. So I use a lot of water and the color is like that. So it's difficult even to say whether I have some pigment there. And one more color is pink. For a pink you can use any pink you have, and it should be also very light. A lot of water, like that. That's very important because these two colors I'm going to use for the snow, because we think that the snow is white, but it's not that. And due to the fact that shadows are cold, the shadows are ultramarine, they are blue, so they are cold. Therefore, the light should be warm. So we cannot just leave white paper, yeah, for all the light parts. We should add a bit of warm hues. And for warm hues, I choose this yellow and this pink. So, are there any questions? No questions? If no, then I'm starting to paint. I will water the paper first from back, then from face. For that I'm using a big brush and clean water. I'm adding a lot of water. From water my paper will be again straight, no rolling effects. Yes. Who's going to paint pastels next week? Are there more people for pastels or for watercolor? I'm curious. And now from face. Yeah, so my paper needs several minutes to get ready so the water goes inside. Pastels, yes, next week we are going to make pastels. Moreover, I'm ready to take how do we call it, to take ideas, or I'm open to your ideas regarding painting plots. So if you post under my announcement about next week's session photos that you would like to paint, I think till Saturday, then I can choose some of them to paint. But when you choose the photo, just remember that we are still on the lunch break and we don't have too much time. So really very sophisticated plots we cannot do during this format of painting. So you now have a bit of understanding what plots I choose, so that 30-40 minutes, maximum 1 hour is enough. So when you have some ideas, just post in the comments and I will choose something. So my paper is getting ready and I will prepare more colors in order to start painting. So my colors are ready and I will show them to you. That's my yellow. There is a bit of blue inside. That's my yellow, it is very light. That's my pink. It's my blue, ultramarine blue. That's my purple matte, which is mixture of 3 colors, purple, ultramarine and burnt sienna, and the same color but with lots of water. So you see the difference. That's like water with color, that's a bit like milk. Now I turn the paper again. And water it again. And again from the face. And with the cloth I will remove the water around. And it's too much. And I'm starting with the horizon line because the horizon line here is lighter than the sky. Therefore, I should use some lighter and warmer color. And in fact, I can use the same pink that I have for the snow. So I take my pink and I start. I'm going on top of the house, I don't care. And I'm going up with this pink. Instead of pink, it is possible to use some Nepal yellow red. But the thing is that it should be really very light. And now I'm starting with blue from up. Only horizontal lines, because the sky on the reference is very smooth. And I'm going further till my color meets together with this pink. I think more blue. In order to make a very smooth transition, you can wash your brush, make it dry like that, and with clean brush, I think I need more pink, and with clean brush I mix. So I'm working on the border between these two colors. Yeah. For the upper part I will use a towel because I'm ready with this part and I don't know whether I have too much water, and that it's too much water, the water will go back to the painting. I don't want that. So this will help me. Yes. Now I'm going further. I have a bit of blue here and here. And now I'm starting with the color of the snow. So I'm taking yellow and just without any logic, I'm adding yellow. I'm adding pink. No logic, you see? Just movements. Like that. And then with clean brush, I pull it So they are not just separate strokes, but they are a bit spread. In some places I do have pink and some yellow, but you shouldn't mix them to one color, like mixing everything and as a result you have just some muddy color. No, I think like that. And when it will be dry, you will see that it will not be yellow or pink, it will be just with a warm hue. So that's good. Now I will work with a tree. For the tree I have a color. I take it on the brush and I will remove a bit of a pigment. I don't want to have too much pigment here, just a bit. And I'm starting very slow. I'm trying. Just very short strokes. Perhaps a bit darker, like that. I can also make a bit of splashes there inside, and the color will be a bit different, a bit brownish down, just a bit, to make it sophisticated, right? That's enough. And now I'm going to work with the shadows. I'm using blue, as you remember. One big shadow goes from the house. And I'm going around it with this bush. A bit of the shadow here. Also here. Here. And I clean my brush, and I can make corrections. For example, I don't want these stars, therefore with a clean dry brush I remove a bit of the pigment. Just clean dry brush, pressing very hard. Some deeper colors here. Also there. And the lines that we applied. Like that. Some are longer. Here is a very smooth transition, like we did with the sky. With clean dry brush, and just make it very smooth. And corrections. now on the roof. With clean dry brush I can again move it. We'll add a bit of darker to the tree because now it's not that wet. I think like that. So with clean dry brush you can make a lot. I think something like that, and now I want to add a bit of inside of this bush because it is white, but in the middle we do have a bit of shadow, so I leave it with a bit of dark inside. I think that's all with the first layer. I will use again the paper tissue. And now we need some time so that it gets dry before we start working with the details, because before we start covering the house. With the card I can make several lines. It's like a bit of white branches. That. So we need 5-10 minutes. But I will try to remove all unnecessary water regularly so that we do not wait too long. And after it is ready, we will make these lines and the house. I will try to make the mixture for the house now because I don't have it enough. And I will try now to add, yeah, the paper is still wet because it's cotton paper. So that's dangerous what I'm doing now. I'm making just with lines up, so I'm not going horizontal, but a bit of vertical lines to create the effect that there are some bushes there or some plants, some grass. So you see what I'm doing? I'm too risky. I do not recommend to do that because it is still wet. And it is really dark here. and there's some kind of a door like that, I think. And from other part it is lighter, it's like that. But under the roof we always have some shadow. It goes up because it is wet. I'm waiting, pressing, and several darker lines, and also I leave a bit of a space to show the plants there. It's really very wet. So you can use a hairdryer or just wait a bit. I think that I will do like that. Should take a bit of the water inside. Perhaps you have some questions during the time that we are waiting, or you have some ideas for future sessions. You have a chance to say about that. I will comment. I can remove a bit of the color of the house which is here on the white. I'm doing that with just a small piece of paper. Gain a bit of shadow under and some lines down. A bit darker behind the house. Yeah, and some darker lines again here and the door. For that you can also use some gray or some black. But first wait. And now I will make several lines for these plants. I'm using a thin brush and the same color that I used for the house and for the tree. Again, to make sure that I don't have too much pigment, I remove pigment. And I'm starting just with lines. It shouldn't be straight. Here there are some several. where you want, or you follow the reference, but make sure that they're really curvy a bit. And I always paint them from down to up, so that with time I have less pigment. And you see, first I started with a lighter color, now with a darker one, but on some places, mostly up, I left the lighter color, because the upper parts of the plant get more sun and they should be lighter. Here you should have smaller lines because they are far away. I think like that. And now I will add the flowers on top of this plant. For that I can use this brush. This is calligraphic brush, the same dark color which I was using. This mixture of burnt sienna blue and purple, and I also remove a bit of a pigment. I wish I had a smaller one. It's too big. So removing, and just with the sharp ends of the brush, some lighter. The idea of the flowers, it's not a pure flower, of course. Just the idea. And from the darker part, so from the left, because the sun goes from the right now, also removing. Several more dots from the shadow part. That's just the illusion, don't be perfect with that. So I will add a bit of blue now to this part, because I don't have enough shadows here. Just a bit. Because this blue gives like basement for the plants. When they are standing just on white, yellow, then it looks a bit strange. They are a bit hanging in the air. Yeah. I need details for the house. Let's try again with a small brush. I hope that it is a bit dry now. Again, this brush. And just lines. Not everywhere, but I want some graphical effect. Therefore, I'm adding a bit, but just a bit. Your house shouldn't be just lined from all the parts of it. It won't help. Some grasses here. From down to up again. When they're too intensive, you can press and then it's intensive. Just several. This very dry brush, almost no pigment on it. We'll continue here. Yes, and some details for that. I love lavender color. I take it exactly from the tube. If I can open this tube, is an older one. What is a new one? That's strange. Okay, I will have another one. Oh, yeah, it works. So that's lavender color, and I go inside the tube and just make several details. Even some lines, some ideas here, here, just a bit. I love the color to add it. That's too big stroke. Yeah. And now what I can do, I can add a bit of white from the right side because I see more white there. For that you can use either watercolor or gouache, or you can also use some white liners. And from the right side, on several plants, I will add this white. Also on the flowers. But it is wet now, and on wet it doesn't work very good. So either you wait or you use watercolor, white watercolor. I think I also have it here. It's Chinese white. This one from Van Gogh. And again, I go inside because it's very thick paint inside, and I will add several. If I had more time, like when it was not a live stream, I would use either a fluid, mask fluid, to cover this white, or I would be too careful to leave the white space. But for these formats, it doesn't work. That's it. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just ask. For next week we are playing pastels, as I already told you, and you can also participate in choosing a plot. I will make the announcement about that. So have a nice day, Thank you for being with me, and if you are going to paint this reference later on, it will be available in the group, but at the same time I'm not going to make a library from the group, so with time all the videos will go away, but with time, yeah, so you have time to paint. But I'm not going to, in a year I have 365 videos there, so it's not a library but more about painting online on after the class. Thank you and have a nice day, and see you next week. And those who are registered for Saturday Zoom webinar, I will see you on Saturday.